This is another Bellows Blades knife review. Today we're going to be reviewing a fixed blade knife. And this will actually be my very first Karambit that I've ever owned or ordered or reviewed. So I have a brother who would say that's long overdue. He is somebody who really likes the Karambit style of knife. In fact, he actually had me forge him one. Was the first introduction that I even had to Karambits was when he asked me to make him one, and I had to look up what it was, believe it or not. I know that sounds crazy coming from a knife guy, but really didn't have any exposure to Karambits before that. I've looked into them a little bit since then, and just personally, I've always felt like without the martial arts training to go along with it, I felt like I could be just as effective in a self-defense situation with a different style knife than with a Karambit. I can definitely see the benefit if it's something that you've trained with and it goes along with the type of martial arts that you have training in. But for me, it just never really held a lot of appeal. However, I saw this one on sale for about half price, and it was running basically about $20. And for $20, I thought, hey, I can't pass that up. I will go ahead and pick that up and just see. Maybe I will like Karambits once I get to carrying one. So this is, like I said, my first foray into the Karambit world. Excuse me. As you can see, of course, when you're looking budget knives, a lot of them are being made in China. This is a brand that I was not familiar with. The brand name, I assume, is pronounced Masalong. The thing that I find really interesting about this, and of course, you know, Chinese stuff, it's always interesting to look at how they have stuff spelled like knife without a K there. But the name on this is actually Pterosaurs. I don't know why it's only one knife, not two. I don't know why it wouldn't just be the Masalong Pterosaur. And that's probably how I'll refer to it throughout the review rather than putting that S on the end. I'm not sure why it's pluralized. But anyway, so again, this is a brand I'm not familiar with. This is my first exposure to not only Karambits, but to this brand. You can see it does come with a nice like foam cutout. As far as like just for carrying, the box itself is pretty cheap. It was pretty banged up, so I'm glad it had the foam in there. But this is the knife itself. It looks like it comes with a, I'm assuming a Kydex style. It looks like kind of a taco style Kydex sheath with one of the, what do you call, is it the tack clip? Or again, I'm not super into the tactical world. When I was a security guard, I did carry these types of clips on my belt that I used for all my other stuff, pepper spray, tasers, all that fun stuff. But other than that, you know, I haven't really kept up with that since being out of that world. So if you have that kind of a design belt, like a kind of a utility style belt that you would use, you know, police officers wear them, security guards wear them, this would work really well for that. On a regular belt, it maybe is a little bit of overkill. But hey, it comes with it. That's nice, especially, like I said, if you're in security, law enforcement. Although I gotta say, if I am going to trust my life to a knife, it's probably not going to be a $20 Chinese knife, but that's just me. So the knife itself comes out easily enough. They've got it wrapped up. So we've got to figure out how to unwrap this in a safe manner. I'm not sure why it needed to be wrapped, to be honest. Okay. So what drew me to this knife was just kind of the design. So, you know, it's called the Pterosaur, which I assume is kind of after the dinosaurs, you know, inspiration, which you can see here. It kind of has that like bill type shape, and the hole here almost kind of has the idea of that eye, almost kind of like a pterodactyl look, which I think is pretty cool. I mean, that looks pretty neat. The blade itself, of course, is made from D2, as it says there on the blade. And this is supposedly a 3.5 inch, I believe, cutting edge. That's going to be a little harder to measure with the curved kind of radius there. I don't know how, you know, how you can accurately measure that. If you do a straight line from there to there, I don't know if it's still going to be 3 inches. You can see it's got a nice thumb ramp here with some jimping on it. So if you're holding it in this style of a grip. Now, I will say right away, one of the things I'm noticing holding it this way, you're going to have to be really careful not to cut yourself right there, because your hand naturally wants to kind of choke up, and you're right up against that sharpened edge. So I could see nicking my finger here pretty easily. In the reverse grip, really, I have larger hands, so that's not much better. I mean, I'm looking at that cutting edge is basically being nestled into the meat of my hand, and it's not cutting with me just holding it, but I may actually myself have to get a Dremel and take some of that cutting edge off and round that out just to keep from chancing cutting myself. I'm not sure. Yeah, it definitely feels, that's definitely razor sharp. You can tell by feeling it. I should have brought some paper up. I didn't bring any paper. I could maybe grab some real quick here in just a minute. Definitely an extremely fine point on that. With the D2, my concern would be, you know, that point snapping, breaking. It's extremely fine point. You know, I don't know how well you can tell it there on camera, but the G10 does feel good. It's fairly thick stock as far as the steel, and then the handles themselves, fairly thick. I mean, it feels good in there. I feel like if my hands were a little smaller, I'd like the knife a lot better as far as the ergonomics go. It just really, my hand's a little too big for this handle. Let's just look here and see what we got measurement-wise on this. So, yeah, if you measure from the very tip of the point to the kind of the point here on the cutting edge, the end of the beginning of the cutting edge, you're looking at 3.5 inches of cutting edge that you have there. Overall length of the knife is supposed to be 7.3 inches. And yeah, that's probably about right. It looks more like 7.25 to me, but pretty close there. 7.25, 7.3, about the same thing. So, you know, it's not a super large knife, but I mean, it's plenty big enough. If you're carrying this thing for self-defense, which really, I don't know what else you'd carry a Karambit for. It's not really designed that well to be used for everyday cutting tasks. I mean, I guess you can open stuff with it, but if you're carrying it for self-defense, it's big enough to get done what you need to do. You know, you've got the ring that's on a Karambit, which gives you a little extra security in your hand that it's not going to get ripped out of your hand. They included some, for lack of a better word, I'll call it jimping, but I don't think it really is jimping on the ring itself. I would think that's more for aesthetics and looks than it is practicality. You know, your thumb's not really slipping off that ring anyway because your finger's through the ring. So, you know, I don't know. As far as the knife itself, like, I do like the design. I like the look of the knife. It looks cool, right? Like, I don't have a problem with that. It does come with plain blade, like a you know, kind of a shiny, I won't say, it's more like a satin, but stainless steel looking blade, even though it is D2, so it's not really stainless steel. And then it comes with the one that I got here, which is the coated blade with the darker coating on it. Because of it being D2, I did get the coated blade. Also, again, if you're carrying it for self-defense, shiny knife isn't always what you're going for anyway. See how this thing, it seems to lock pretty well, and it comes out of the sheath fairly well. You know, that's one of the things with a Karambit being kind of rounded like that. Designing those sheaths, you have to allow for it to be drawn out, which is why you have this extra kind of spine here that allows for that kind of arching out motion as you're pulling it out. It definitely isn't clicking like hard into place, so I don't know that I'd want to be jogging with it if it was in an inverted, you know, carry like this. I don't know that you would carry it that way, but I definitely don't think I would have confidence that that wouldn't just fall out pretty easily. But if you're carrying it upright, you know, or even like this, I don't think you're going to have to worry about it coming out. I don't know if this, yeah, it doesn't really look like you have a lot of flexibility in the belt clip itself. I guess you could, well, no, that's not true. Based on the style of the clip, you could kind of rotate it around. You definitely could do, you know, 90 degrees from where it is now, and possibly do a little bit of cant there as well. You know, rotating between these two of these holes on the back. So I'm not sure how much I like that versus just a regular belt clip, but some people really will like it though. They'll like that versatility, and especially if they already have these kind of clips on some of their other gear, you know, they're going to like that. It's kind of a, you know, that would kind of be a nice touch for a lot of people. But for me, it's a little bit overkill. I don't really know that I need that. It's going to make it stick out a lot further for me because it's so bulky. So I think just a regular belt clip would have worked better for me, but that's maybe nitpicking. Overall, you know, I mean, the sheath is fine. The knife is all right too, especially, again, if you have a little bit smaller hands. My biggest concern is cutting myself on that. That sharpened edge, no matter which way I hold it, whether I'm holding it with my pinky through the ring, I'm right up against that edge. And if I reverse it, I'm still, like, my hand is right there on that cutting edge. So, you know, like I said, for me, I might have to actually Dremel this choil or whatever you want to call it out just a little bit further, just to keep myself from catching on that sharpened edge right there. But yeah, guys, I don't know. Again, I'll have to use it and see how it holds up to some use. I don't know how, like I said, I don't really know how you use Karambit since it's really designed for self-defense. But, you know, if the steel's decent and it holds up, I like the design a lot. I think aesthetically it looks really cool. I like the way that it looks. I wish it was just a little bit bigger in the handle for my hand. But that being said, if you're somebody who has medium to smaller hands, you know, this thing will probably fit you just fine. And hey, I picked this thing up for $20. For $20, I'm not gonna, you know, I'm not gonna complain about it. I think with the sheath that you get with it, D2 steel, assuming that it is actually decent D2, which of course I don't know yet, but assuming that it is, for the D2 steel, you know, G10 handle skills, you got the Kydex sheath. It's a pretty good deal for that, for the $20-something. So I don't know. What do you guys think? Anybody out there carry Karambits and have much experience with them? You know, I really don't know a lot about the Karambit world, so I don't even know what a good Karambit is as far as like brand to recommend, you know, what kind of steel you want in a Karambit. I really am a little bit of a novice when it comes to this particular design of knife. So you guys sound off in the comments. Let me know what you think.